Good day, everyone. I am Ain Bernal M. Yeban, and today I will present to you my final output in PA60 for trends and issues in public administration. So we have here the guide questions. What do you think are other issues and challenges confronting governance, and why do you think these issues occur? So issues and challenges in the government is an inevitable matter. It is a piece of imperfection that we can never eliminate, just like the risk and adversities in every venture. All we can do to deal with these matters is to minimize the risk as low as possible. One of the reasons why these problems occur is the lack of project monitoring and evaluation. Every project, program, or activity conducted by the government should undergo these processes to avoid frequent complaints and turnovers, which causes humongous spoilage of time, money, and resources that rightfully belong to the citizens of the Philippines. So I listed here some technical issues or struggles of the government in confronting governance. First is the lack of technical or trained personnel. Employees who have not been trained properly will produce less work or lower quality output. Less knowledge and training lead to a lower level of performance, resulting in inferior outputs. This type of work often leads to errors, quality issues, lost time in repeating activities, and the lack of training at work refers to the absence of proper institutional or instructional facilities and resources for employees at the workplace. When employees are not being trained at work, they will not be able to deliver their best performance. Second is the uncertainty of resources. The main source of uncertainty stem from three main causes, namely problems with the methods used to produce resource estimates. Resources are not unlimited, and consequences can result from careless and excessive consumption of these resources. Third one is arduous regularization of capable employees. Commonly, applicants' initial and main reason for applying for a job is a salary, convenience, benefits, bonuses, its future economic benefit, or security of tenure. They are demanding higher wages, and the regularization of their working conditions mostly weren't met and granted by the human resource. Offering unjust benefits or assignments to employees. However, for example, a probationary employee during the probationary employment, they cannot be dismissed except for just cause or when he fails to qualify as a regular employee in accordance with the reasonable standards made known by the employer to the employee at the start of the employment. Most of the time, capable employees demands what they think they deserve. That is why they don't settle for less and stay out of the job, which led to difficulty in finding replacements. Now, which led to frequent turnover of assignment and responsibilities. Employee turnover can be defined as the total number of employees who leave an organization during a given time. Employee turnover is a waste of time, resources, effort, and energy to everyone in an organization. It is one of the most important factors in creating a work environment that fosters productivity and engagement with the company and its mission. Hiring top talent can be expensive, tiresome, and stressful. Subsequently, when the high performing employee chooses to leave, things become complicated. Good employees are hard to find. It is even harder to retain those employees. That's why reducing employee turnover is fast becoming the primary concern among companies worldwide. Fifth one is the unjustified utilization of resources. Resource scheduling, smoothing, and leveling of first steps in the potential disbursement of a financial resource. These steps are sometimes ignored just to expedite the disbursement or procurement process. Planning must be rigid and properly checked, verified and clarified to execute resource utilization properly. It describes the process of planning a project and making sure that the resources available in the company are used optimally. Lacks maximization of available resources. Resource management allows asset managers, or should I say the leaders in the government, to have on-demand, real-time visibility into people and other assets, giving them greater control over delivery. When you manage resources correctly, you can help your organization reduce costs, improve efficiency, and increase productivity. Proper utilization of resources at its maximum capacity is the norm in the government, due to the impression that not reaching its full capacity leads to inefficiency of the officials, contradicting to the private organization's mantra to conserve resources as much as possible. Now, let us proceed to the second guide question. What are the current government initiatives and reforms are employed to combat these issues and challenges, and how effective are these reforms? The government implements a lot of reforms, projects, and activities to ease the access of the citizen to an effective, transparent, and participative governance. So, for instance, the IRRA Republic Act 9184, also known as the Government Procurement Act. This includes the detailed guidelines for government offices to conduct their procurement process and even the reshuffling of bids and awards committee members for the reason that familiarity threat and possible conflict of interest may arise when the prolongment of officers were tolerated. Another example is the continuous implementation of the Anti-Red Tape Act of 2007. In 2007, the Philippine government passed the Anti-Bureaucracy Act to curb corruption behavior and improve its delivery of frontline public services to its citizens. The law included simplification measures to reduce bureaucracy in service transactions, and the formal corruption prevention tool was created for services. It was intensified during the term of the previous president, Rodrigo Roa Duterte. As of this date, public offices are required to post a citizen's charter on the most visible and accessible part of their offices, for the external and internal clients will be guided on their transactions. This includes the what kind of service they are seeking, the processes, and the tentative time of processing the request to a certain public office. One of the easement that the government provides for the citizens were the regularization of Republic Act number 10121, also known as the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act of 2010. This aims to strengthen the capacity of the national government and the local government units together with the partner stakeholders to build the disaster resiliency of communities, and to institutionalize arrangements and measures for reducing disaster risk, including projected climate risk and enhancing disaster preparedness and response capabilities of all levels. Fourth one is the Presidential Decree number 1445, or the ordaining and instituting a government code of the Philippines. It is the declared policy of the state that all resources of the government shall be managed, expended, and utilized in accordance with law and regulations, and safeguard against loss or wastage through illegal or improper disposition, with a view to ensuring efficiency, economy, and effectiveness in operations of government. The responsibility to take care that such policy is faithfully adhered to rests directly with the chief or head of the government agency concerned. What can you suggest to further improve the performance of government in governance process? performance enhancement of service delivery of the clients were implemented and practiced regularly in the government. Example of which are the MMIAs or the monthly monitoring of individual accomplishment of employees, IPCRs or individual performance commitment and review, CSS or the customer survey satisfaction. Therefore, I conclude that process is sufficient. The problem is the over-processing. We have so much processes that we need to follow, and sometimes those systems make the process more complicated and burdensome to the clients and employees. Second is capacity development, another major example of factors that improve the government performance. Continuous trainings and provision of technical assistance to the government employees or officials. Capacity development is very important because it calibrates the performance of person or office in charge. The goal is to ensure that the level of governance is capable of strengthening the internal organizational structure systems and processes. It aims to improve the facilities and ensure enough manpower to deliver and conduct relevant and updated projects, programs, and activities. Another suggestion that I can make is a common and one of the most important pillars of governance, which is the transparency of all its operations. Transparency in the government pertains to the principle of sharing value and usable information with the citizens or maybe with other agencies. Increasing interagency transparency is a great method or strategy for escalating government performance. It is often called knowledge management. Departments, institutions, and agencies can now share relevant and factual information required to disseminate performance data to stakeholders and the general public by allowing unrestricted access to these data. Leaders in the public sector can get more serious about improving performance and work toward creating the appropriate decisions and action plans to meet set goals. For the fourth one, global trends in public administration that is being applied or can be applied in the Philippines and the mechanisms for its adoption or implementation. So we have here the dimensions of sustainable development. Integration for sustainable development and the policy cycle are the basic conditions for social development, and environmental sustainability must become fundamental political objectives and not peripheral objectives. We must seek to move from an essentially short-term political horizon to a long-term benefit for all. The focus on gross domestic product as a measure of process or progress should be replaced by indicators that encompass the three dimensions of sustainable development. Public policy must recognize that the planet's resources are not unlimited and that resource limitations cannot always be solved by the technology. So I have here the citations or the sources. That would be all. Thank you.